Hey everyone, Wanderbot here, and welcome to a very special privilege that I have been granted. So welcome to Wayfinder, or at least the closed beta of it. It's not out yet, it'll be out in early access in May, but Airship Syndicate and Digital Extremes were kind enough to actually reach out and give me access to... sorry, I'm getting shelled here. These guys are rude. There we go, this little guy in the back is kind of a problem. This guy here is a bit of an issue too, but still. There we go. Ah, it's much better. So Wayfinder is an upcoming action MMORPG made by Airship Syndicate. Yeesh. These little guys do not want to let up. Oh, it's fine. I'll mess them up. Let's see. Action MMO made by Airship Syndicate and published, kind of, sort of, by Digital Extremes. It seems like they're handling most of the back-end and business decisions, and also helping with, like, multiplayer netcode, because Digital Extremes makes Warframe, and you pretty much assume that they know what they're doing, at least in regards to action MMOs and so on and so forth. Whew. Oh boy, Codex Sage wants my blood and then some. I'm gonna have to pull out all stops. I probably have not customized this weapon particularly well, so we might take a look at that in a hot second. And see if I can fix some of my immediate issues. There we go. But for the time being, I'm just going to kind of wail on this dude. So I'm playing as Wingrave, who is your standard paladin character. Except for I decided to get cheeky and I'm using the... I'm using the daggers instead, which is the specialized weapon of another character, but can be used by anyone. So we're going to take a look at this. Unfortunately, I cannot change any of my equipment around while I'm in the middle of a mission, but I can mess with these things. So if you notice my break power, it's 606. It's over on the right side. Can I get a cursor in here? Yeah, there we go. 606, which means it takes a little bit more effort to break off that yellow meter above an enemy. So this is a crow type thing. So if you've ever played Warframe, the matching the slot to the or the mod to the associated slot is very much kind of the same deal. So we want to do, I mean, some resilience wouldn't be a bad idea. This is not the best, but it's got good break power. We could go for some more weapon power, but I think that break power would be more valuable. Got anything else that's going to help me just as much? Herald Echo, 180, so that might be one of my better ones. Yeah, so why don't we go with this? So this game features a fairly robust amount of character customization and abilities and other things, so I'm just going to vaguely go over this. So most of these are stat sticks, however, there are a couple with special abilities that you can get as well. But your character, so your accessories might only be able to hold one, but your character and your weapon can hold a lot more. You can also upgrade your abilities in different ways, so I've put all of my points into Judgment at the moment, which is my taunt, and also one of my heals. Then there's also the affinity bars, meters that you can fill up and upgrade things. So I could put points into this to give myself an increase in max health, ability power, physical defense, magic defense, and some other things. And that also gets me unique perks, but that gets kind of expensive. And then there's mastery systems, but they're not in the game yet. So now that we've managed our build a little bit more, hopefully we'll have an easier time of this. And go in. So the dungeons are randomly generated. Rude little dudes. I should probably go for the taunt. Like I said, my taunt is also one of my heals. It's one of the specialties of this character. Specifically that he, let's see. That his taunt makes it so whenever you hit a taunted enemy, you will get some extra health as a result. Yeah, we're breaking them a lot better. Then again, that one mage guy was also a little bit, more dangerous and aggressive. Light puzzle here. There's a lot of light puzzle stuff going on just to keep things interesting. It might be a little repetitive, I'll grant, once the game's actually out, but I don't know. You can tell which ones I'm supposed to light up based on those pillars, so this one wants all three. So, I guess I should go back, seeing as I keep distracting myself with all of the other things I need to talk about, and I'm sure Shell's sitting behind me being like, this should have just been scripted, and the answer is yes, probably, but this is faster. I'll do an actual scripted thing once I have more game to talk about, including plot and story. Currently, the beta had some, but it's pretty light at the moment. So if you are not aware, so Digital Extremes made, let's do Solar, I don't know what this gets me. Digital Extremes made Warframe and max HP buff. That could be nice. They made Warframe. probably one of the better free-to-play MMOs on the market. And then Airship Syndicate made Battle Chasers Night War, Darksiders Genesis, and then League of Legends Rune King, which, 2 really good turn-based RPGs, and then 1 absolutely incredible action RPG, and one of my favorite franchises of all time. That's part of the reason why I believe in this game so much, is because I am very much a huge fan of the Darksiders franchise, but I've always wanted more multiplayer as part of it. I mean, it's the 4 Horsemen, right? And so I remember, like, when we were younger, Shell and I would be hanging out, like, playing Darksiders 1 and 2, and we'd be like, oh man, you know, Darksiders 3 or 4 might actually have co-op with, like, the full, you know, sum total of the 4 Horsemen, and it's gonna be this great co-op experience. We haven't gotten that one yet. However, I'm more or less getting my wish, with this game instead. Though, admittedly, it's only up to 3-player co-op, which I will show off in a little bit for a boss fight. Looks like we're actually at the end of this dungeon already. Maybe? Nah, can't be. We gotta have a little bit more. There we go. Bad. So the dungeons are randomly generated, based on, like, pre-made parts. So if you have ever played stuff like Binding of Isaac, it's going to be kind of a similar and familiar lineup. So you'll probably recognize a number of these specific rooms over and over again, as they will be showing up repeatedly over the course of a... Ow. Rude. They are going to be showing up multiple times over the course of multiple runs. The game also features a fair bit of grinding, so you're going to be revisiting locations fairly often for various materials. So you might be noticing I'm getting Gloomstone Shards and Argent Spectra, which I don't actually know what half of those things do, but they contribute to unlocking new weapons and equipment, progression systems, some player housing stuff, which does actually have character progression merits of its own. Like, if you put up a trophy from X or Y boss, you get a bonus as well. Though, it remains to be seen what that's going to entail. But the developers have talked very excitedly about that. Ooh, hello. But, so all of these rooms kind of separated by doors are their own separate chunks. Let's get the shield up, too. Not that it matters too much. I like playing this character, not because I don't have to try, but I pretty much don't have to try as hard. I'm able to absolutely just... Oh, okay. I don't know the dagger combos that much yet. They're pretty fun, but I'm more of an axe guy. And so this is kind of the complete opposite. This is exit. There might be some treasure here. Little bit hidden around. A couple of treasures. Mostly just money, which is actually useful in this one, but mostly just because it's a qualifier. Wow, there's actually a lot of treasure in here. That so far, farming for the resources seems to be the main theme of the game, and money is kind of just a secondary thing of, like, do you actually have enough, or are you running a little low? Do we want to go down here? Actually, yeah, it looks like there's a ghosty man. Yeah, this character is also better at parrying, I've noticed. I don't think I have any skeleton keys, and there's something on the other side of that wall, but I'm pretty sure I can't get to. So, what else is there to say about this, at the moment, at least in this area? This is kind of the first region, though this is the second part of it. So every region has multiple different locations that you can visit, with their own unique enemies, bosses, kind of events that can pop up, and even sub-bosses that you find over the course of gameplay that show up if you add modifiers to the dungeon, which I will show off in a moment. Currently, this is super vanilla. I don't think I even increased the difficulty level, because my daggers are kind of weak. There we go. So, you've also probably noticed that there's a couple of different types of enemies that we're fighting kind of concurrently and randomly. There seem to be these, like, ghost scholars. There are these, like, void herald-looking dudes that are more or less the servants of the progenitor race, or at least, like, the ancient race that built all the fancy stuff. There's goblins, there's some other stuff. There's not a whole lot of lore that I've run into to explain half of what's going on, but you're effectively diving into these shadowed, gloom-riddled zones that have effectively fallen into the abyss, and you're bringing them back. Okay, so now we're back in town. You might notice that there's a bunch of characters standing around. So one thing I didn't mention is there's no character customization, or no... Alright, so now that we're back in town, you might notice that there's a bunch of other people standing around. So obviously it's an MMO, however, when you're in a dungeon, you do not see other players that are not in your party. That is not true for the town. This is Skylight, which was actually the original code name for this game. I think they had another one even before that, but at least when I first heard about it, it was Project Skylight, and that's the town. But you might notice that there's a bunch of different characters standing around, including a couple of, like, duplicates. So instead of having characters, like, classes, you actually have distinct characters. So this is Wingrave, this is Senja, I don't know why it's showing Silo's portrait. This is Nis, who's kind of our assassin-type character. Silo, who's kind of your gadgeteer gunner, with bombs. Kairos, who's a wizard, except for whatever reason, he uses an axe instead, which was kind of neat. And, cool thing, any character can actually use any weapon in the game. So I was using the Rose and Thorn, which daggers are for the assassin character normally, but if I wanted to, I could use the railgun, I could use the regular gun, I can use sword and shield, which is my normal favored weapon, or I could use axe, which is my usual, like, favored kind of weapon. So I guess as far as the characters go, they all have their own, like, individual personalities and stories and stuff, which I'm curious to see how that is going to reflect in the story. But to account for the fact that there are multiple people, you're all echoes of each other. You know, kind of heroes that fell in battle that have been revived in some way. And so everybody has a Wingrave, everybody has a Kairos, but you're not just, you know, one of many. Every character kind of has their own story as part of this. They've talked about this vaguely, and I'm quite curious to see where it goes. But so if you've played, like, League of Legends, it's very much kind of that system. Of the characters are not just, like, random warrior, berserker, mage, plus whatever customization you want to add. So there might be more of a story element to who you are in this game, beyond just, like, you are the hero, you are the warrior of light. Which, like, I think that actually worked really well in other MMOs, but it's kind of interesting to see one where the characters might actually have a distinct personality. However, for the moment, let's quick sidestep, play as Silo, and go fight our first boss. Okay, so I am joined, wow, yep, by a pair of Kairoses. A character I guess I'll show off at some point. This whole video experience is going to be a little scuffed. I don't actually know if these no, they probably know where they're going. So this is the first boss of the game. This is Broodmother. However, it looks like they've put a, they've actually put a, oh shoot. Messed that one up. Or not? No, it looks like the poison's gone at this point. There's sometimes field modifiers you can apply to one, to a boss fight or an arena, or just a level in general, so sometimes it's like poison on the ground where enemies died. Hopefully this is not that one, just because that's a little tougher, but you know what, if it is exactly that, then so be it, I'll make it work. So, way this boss fight works, it's kind of your standard tank and spank boss fight, with the exception of she puts kind of a crystal armor around herself, at which point you actually have to break it off, which is a little bit frustrating if you're using the wrong weapon. Technically, I'm using the wrong weapon, but I've put enough upgrades on it to specifically increase its break power that it should do a decent chunk of damage to her. The thing is, the two Kairoses running around are getting smacked a little bit. Yeah, there's definitely some modifiers going on this one. But so Kairos specifically starts with an axe, and at least this axe has a pretty good break meter, or is good at breaking break meters. There we go. Now she's stunned. Okay. Might as well hit her with the best I've got. Oh, she heals? I guess so. Let's just not be there. Luckily, I don't really have to do much of anything. I am just here to kind of assist these two. Oh, my reload bar isn't showing up sometimes. Confusing, but it's fine. It's probably because I'm still trying to attack in the midst of it, and it's messing with me. Nope. Yeah, I messed that one up, but it's fine. If you get your perfect hit, if you get the perfect reload, it will actually... there we go. It'll actually give you a bit of a damage boost. And I'm usually kind of good at it. It's a little harder at the moment. That thing... No. There we go. Kind of. I'm just mildly distracted. There's a lot going on in the middle of the boss fight. It's a little easier solo because you don't have to worry about where the enemies are. Because they're always just coming after you. And it's a little bit more predictable. Obviously, it's a little bit more chaos. Now, can I actually... I can shoot on the run. I don't have to be in Iron Sights mode. If I don't want to be. But I kind of generally want to be. Alright. Give her a firebomb. I think it does extra damage. I'm going to assume it enhances the burn, but I could very much be wrong. Now we... It feels like we've had multiple phases here. I'm a little concerned. But we've got to be getting close to the end. Her HP is looking bad. There could have been a bug where she leashed there for a hot second. And it reset her HP. That'd be almost my assumption. So we are... I know I've probably said this before, but it is worth mentioning that this is all beta still. They're still polishing it. It is going to be hitting early access, you know, in a couple of months. But hopefully they will have fixed a number of these small issues that might crop up over the course of this video. Hence why I have the, this is beta footage overlay going on at the moment, as opposed to just being like, yeah, this is what the game's exactly going to be like when it comes out. There we go. Hopefully this will, finish her off, if we can. She's so close. There we go. There's the damage bonus I was talking about. Nope, she's up again. Really? Wow, we're getting a lot of minion phases here. I mean, it's fine. I think the fire specifically gives us a, or gives my firebomb like a much bigger AoE. Also really appreciate the fact that there is a third-person shooter kind of character. Oh wow, I missed with that oil bomb. Badly. This is also the stress test. I didn't really think about this, but they're specifically trying to pack a bunch of people onto the server. So if it's freaking out a little bit, that might actually just be why. I should have been closer for that buckshot, but I mean, she's almost dead. There we go. Not my best. It'll be better once the game actually launches out, I'm sure. And I specifically will be more functional. Alright, anyway, so that's the first boss fight down. I'm gonna try and show off as many as I possibly can before this, this stress test is over. Nah, these are completely different guys. Ooh, this Kairos actually has a pair of daggers I haven't seen yet. What weapon am I using? I'm using an axe, but it's invisible. Don't worry about it. So we've just hopped into our next boss fight. This is kind of, Bloodspawn, there we go. Who specifically is this just kind of amorphous slime. I have no idea why we're here to fight him. At this point, I've wildly outstripped any level of plot knowledge that I might or might not have. But that's fine. Oops. Let's not be there. If we can avoid it. I don't know why my axe is invisible. But, again, this is very much the, let's see. Let's go for a charged hit. Nope. Missed him. Unfortunately, I think we have to wait until he's maybe a little bit more close. There we go. So this character works off of a, I guess I'm going to say like a hype system. So she used to be a gladiator and fights accordingly. Trying not to take too much damage here. There we go. Boy, my animations are super broken. Okay, there we go. Mess them up a little bit. And so you can also charge up your hits, and the more damage you take while you charge up those hits, the more damage you do as a result of them. Oops, that is actually not what I wanted to do. It's unfortunate. It's fine. We probably should have teamed up here. Oh, at least this one's loose. Just throw my invisible axe at things. And what we're trying to do is kill all three of those, because the more they go back to him, the more HP he has. I don't know if I can actually charge these up, but that's fine. Oh, and then we've got a bunch of explosive changelings. Let's not be there when that goes off. Oh, so we actually get like a an initial hit. That's kind of neat. I haven't played this character in a couple of months, because Digital Extremes and Airship Syndicate had like brought me down to Texas so I could preview a bunch of things, which I think I've already mentioned, but I don't know. I've done a couple of takes here, and one or two like details have slipped through the cracks. It looks like they're fine, but these explosive little Ikerlings are a bit of a doozy. Especially if I, you know, miss them. Ow. That's okay, I got healing potions aplenty. There we go. Ow. Rude. Okay. Probably another good time for a healing potion. And we're all on this guy, so we should be able to take him out much faster. There we go. Ooh. I don't know if I can taunt him. But between... Nah, I ain't gonna get the hit. They got it, though. Alright. Boss comes back? Yeah. Of course he would. I don't know the full mechanics on, like... those guys coming back versus not. It wasn't quite the enemy I wanted to hit. I think it's the more I charge my abilities. Ow. The bigger that bar at the bottom gets. Oh, that's what the taunt. Yeah, I can even charge the taunt. Alright. Grab that. Chuck this off. I don't exactly remember how these features work, but it's fine. And I take heavily reduced damage when I'm doing that as well. And did we get him? Yeah, we took him out. And got a couple of Trickster's keys, too. I feel like I helped on that fight, but I was mostly just fighting the mobs. It's fine. That was a good way to show off this character without a whole lot of pressure. And let's get out of here. So before we stop playing as Senja, though, I should quickly exit the gloom. I love that the transitions between, like, a dungeon and the town doesn't take too long. I say as it then immediately hangs to prove me wrong. Nah, we're going fast enough. And it's also during the stress test, so it might be a little bit slower and jankier. Because they're actively trying to harm their servers here. So, earlier I had mentioned that every character is kind of distinct in their own way. As like a person and personality. They also have kind of their own customization beyond that. So specifically you have personas, which kind of changes your overall character theme. Currently, she only has Gladiator at the moment, but as you can see, we also have, like, the Wildling cut, the Pit Helm, and then the Champion cut. And then a couple of different, like, chest pieces that I can swap between, different arms that I can swap between, and then different legs that I can swap between. So even though your character is kind of a distinct singular person, you still do have some level of character customization, so you're not going to look exactly the same as somebody else in the mix. So this is also true for like Nis. So my Nis looks pretty different from Shell's Nis. So once again, not a whole lot of personas in the moment. There will be more later. But so we can do, you know, quite a lot of different outfits if you want to over the course of the game. I think most of it is unlockable either through gameplay or through the season pass system. And I don't actually know if they're going to have a cosmetic shop or not. But you also have color sets so you can swap between. I've currently got like a green, but you can swap pretty much every color zone on your character, or at least on their outfit. So if you want to have, you know, all green or mix in some red, which looks pretty nice, but I like more of the purple look. So you have a fair bit of customization. A lot of this very much reminds me of how it works with Warframe, which to me is super exciting just because I like how Warframe handles its monetization and its, let's see, do we want to grab this one? I think I want to go down this. Healing pulses restore guard break and lower ability cooldown. So I actually want to start investing into this when and where I can. Cool. So, I don't know, Warframe's monetization system, except for the boosters for extra EXP and credits, like that's the only part about Warframe's. Ooh, this guy looks sick. Oh, actually, I could totally get that art, that armor set. I just didn't think of that combination. I like more of the kind of pure paladin look and feel. Oh, you know what I should do, though? Oh, yeah, I did switch back to Eclipse. My axe is invisible. You know what? That's fine. We don't need to worry about it. Hey, I might actually be able to do the Archon Commander fight here. Let's see. We're not going to... Well, we'll end this video on the Reaver Woods. So where do we want to go? Why don't we go to the Halls of Lingering Light? I don't know if there's anybody else here. Or Trial of Lingering Light. I'm going to do this one solo, because I just want to go at my own. And this way we don't have to worry about loading times. But, I don't know. Just Warframe's non-pay-to-win style monetization system felt pretty good. I guess you could actually convert platinum into items, so there was some level of that. I don't think this is going to have it, and they were very adamant when I was asking them about monetization, about how they don't want to have any kind of gameplay benefits for the cash shop system. It's purely going to be cosmetic, and the season pass system, which I don't know what's going to be in the season passes, if it's going to be all cosmetics, if there's going to be some resources there. I know characters and weapons are going to be delivered at least partly through the season pass. But the one thing about that... This is so silly. I feel bad. But this is why I have that disclaimer saying, hey, this is beta footage. Send that off. Mess him up. Wow. First time I did this, I was underleveled and I was having trouble. This time around, I'm just wrecking these fools. And it feels good. Like, really good, actually. Alright, sup, wizard. Now I'm just going to slam it at you with my elbows, and you can do nothing about it. Sick. Wait, was that it? Did I win? No way. There's another wave. I knew there was another wave. Let's just... Okay, avoid for a hot second. I'm playing hyper aggressively, because if I can take these guys out, I will be a happy camper. I don't know what his plan is. Let's just stay away from that for a hot second. Chuck that off. Alright, he's done. Then all we have to do is take out the Arclight Warbear, which is like a really cool name. There we go. But yeah, so I don't know what's going to be in the Season Pass, but one of the things that they said that really excited me about the Season Pass system for this game is that the Season Pass... Oops. Get in here, try not to take too much damage, but we're pretty much tanking through it, and we've got free healing forever. Dang owls. So, big benefit of the Season Pass for Wayfinder, sorry, I want to keep calling it Warframe, which is not the case, is that once you buy a Season Pass, it sticks around forever. I like playing Destiny, but one of my biggest beefs with that game is once the seasonal content is over and you're on to the next expansion... Oh, where'd the owl go? I guess that was the end of it. Alright, cool. Don't have to worry about the owl. But once you've moved on to the next expansion, all of your previous season passes in Destiny are just gone, so you have to grind right then and there, and that kind of sucks. I don't know if they're ever going to... I don't know if Wayfinder will specifically give access to older season passes. Like, if... I think they will go away eventually, so new players can't buy them and aren't overwhelmed by 100 season passes that they now have to figure out which ones they want to sort through. But none of it is going to be exclusive content. You can earn it through other means. Except for maybe cosmetics? I don't know. We'll have to see how it shakes up. Or shakes down. We'll have to see how it turns out when it's actually done. So here's a quick question. Do I actually have any accessories to equip? There's quite a lot here, but because I'm trying to go for the highest possible power rating, I have to be kind of careful about the ones I equip at the moment. So I can replace the Shadowstone Deca... Deceiver, sorry, not Deca. With something a little bit more powerful. Though I will point out that they're actually set bonuses. So, for whatever reason this is considered... Oh, no, never mind. The 5 Blessing Ring also pairs with the Imperial Emblem and Heron's Bracer. And that'll give extra total ability power. So there are reasons to equip slightly out-of-date accessories as well. Here and there. So this mask is a 65. Also 65. So what does this give? Physical defense, crit power, and weapon power. Those are pretty good. or ability power, crit rating, and max health. I think we're gonna go for this direction. Let's see. And I'll probably stick to those. Oh yeah, weapon power, 411. Go figure. Let's see. So echoes. Oh, right. Of course, we can equip a new one onto this one. Let's find our best possible Bree. That's some extra resilience. We do have this for a bunch of magic defense. If I want to just tank. But I find, especially for this game, the best offense is a good defense. So actually, no, let's go for a heck ton of defense, because I think this thing can take it. Nice. Okay, so now that we've done that, do I feel like doing... Ooh, wait. It says one more upgrade available. Oh, does that mean I have an ability point that I can spend? No. It's under mastery, but it's in development, so it's not actually there. Rude. It's fine. Okay. You know where I haven't been yet? Before we finish this off, we're going to do 3 more things. Let's go to... Ooh. No, let's just go to the mines. But because it's kind of underleveled compared to what I want to be, let's boost that difficulty. Do we think 10,098 is going to be fine? Yeah, let's do it. I'm just going to dive in solo. Because Wingrave with an axe is one of my more powerful combinations that I've found so far. But I'd like to play around with this once it has two-handed swords. Scythes? Unless scythes are a different kind of weapon. I'm trying to think of other weapons that I know of. There's one character that I don't know if I can mention their name. They're the, their portrait is available, and you can actually find them in town. Their portraits on the website, and you can find them in town in-game. But they specifically... Oh, right! I'm still using the invisible axe. I feel like somebody at, Airship's gonna be upset at me for that one, but look. It's not going to be invisible for long. Let me play in this space. Oh. Wow, that charges fast. What was I going to say? I was talking about season passes and monetization, but I feel like that's kind of an old dead horse that we've just been dealing with for forever, so I don't want to talk about it too much beyond just kind of... It sounds like their monetization schemes are going to be fairly player-friendly, which is nice. It also doesn't sound like they're particularly ambitious with... Well, okay. Sorry, when I say ambitious, I'm thinking in terms of, like, hyper-over-monetizing this game. I think their goal very much is to just secure a very comfortable spot for Wayfinder to exist for years to come, if possible. And honestly, from my perspective, that's very much where I want games-as-a-service games to be going, rather than how much can we, like, get people to fund our, like, egregiously expensive gachas. Because, gosh, I see so many other games-as-a-service games coming out, and it's just kind of like, oh, that looks painful. You know, how do people actually justify either grinding through all of that for free or paying that amount of money into that content? I'm sure it's just I'm not that kind of personality type, and therefore I'm not particularly vulnerable to that kind of marketing. But for me, I'd much rather play games that just want to exist and be the best they possibly can be. And yeah, if that involves buying a couple of shiny outfits every once in a while, then so be it. Honestly, for me, I kind of like that system. Monetizing cosmetics is, yeah, it's probably one of the lowest hanging fruit in terms of monetization, but like, it feels good to play like 100 hours of a game and be like, okay, I deserve a new shiny or two. Though, I think I wail a little bit more than that. Anything else that I should even mention? I'm starting to scrape the bottom of the barrel of things that I know about this game that I can talk about. I'm not actually sure what I can't talk about, so I'll have to double check that before I put this video out, but it should be fine. But I'm personally super looking forward to this, purely just because I feel like MMOs have kind of been stuck in the past for the last X number of years. Very much like almost no action combat, and the ones that did have extensive action combat have all been, you know, over-monetized or have already shut down. I think Terra is the only one that I can think of that had combat that actually looked like it appealed. But that game had some really weird, sketchy stuff about cosmetics, and some of the race-class combinations were kind of a little weird. This one so far, like, yeah, definitely some of the characters are showing some skin, but it hasn't felt like weird or voyeuristic in the same way. Which is something that I kind of care about deeply. The moment MMOs kind of start becoming thinly veiled fan services Usually, oh shoot, I actually have a timed event going on here. 1 second. Oh, rude. Oh, no. I got stuck on the invisible wall that's supposed to prevent you from falling off, which is the last thing I wanted to have happen. Okay, never mind. I'm not getting that time chest. This game doesn't have coyote jumping. I'm just gonna set those off. They'll do as much damage to my enemies as they will to me, I think. Or it won't. I don't know. Holy smokes, there's a lot of enemies here. I've only gotten this event once, and not in this location. It's always a little rough just because I find out it's happening after like half of its duration's already passed, and it's like, oh yeah, this is one of those missions. So instead I'm just gonna fight these guys and just make it work. Because there should be one more set showing up. Yeah, failed. I was too slow. I think there was going to be like a third or fourth group of the big guys that show up. Like that is a hard event to pull off. This is also one of the rare quests that will show up in the middle of a dungeon, and they'll tell you that, you know, they'll give you a little bit of lore, a backstory for a character or a boss or something like that, and then send you in a direction. So I specifically, oh, I know what I was supposed to do with this run. Well, it's a little bit late now. We'll just throw ourselves into the Heck Dungeon to show it off. You can actually attach modifiers, because I scaled up this one's difficulty by a fair bit. But you can also add modifiers that change things in different ways. Like when you kill an enemy, a shadow clone of it pops out, or poison starts spreading from their corpse, and so on and so forth. Oh, I know the other thing I haven't shown off at all. There's an open world. It's not too much of an open world. It's an explorable area where you and up to 15 other players can run around and do events. Unfortunately, much of the game is very much focused on sending you into these instance zones instead, and so I haven't thought too hard about the open world segment yet. I also haven't seen a whole lot of events there, but that's probably an easy way of getting some early levels, which is probably what I should have done with Kairos. Now that I think about it. So which direction am I going? Probably this way. This looks like the end. I'm just gonna cruise on forwards. If you notice, we've got a meter at the top that shows bonus chests that you can get. Once that's filled, you can head for the end because you've got all the rewards, or you can stick around if you need something specific. But in this case, I'm just here for the sake of it because I'm not even sure if I get to keep all of my progress. There we go. I really like this character. Possibly too much. He's just too convenient. And every other character up until now, I very much have to worry about, like, not taking too much damage, because if I do, I get, there we go. If I take too much damage, then I have to worry about spending my health. Alright, here's the boss kind of at the end. I mentioned this earlier. But so, there's kind of this mini boss guy, the emissary, that shows up, and he's a little tougher. Not too tough. I actually find him kind of fun to fight now. First time I fought him, though, he kicked my butt. Let's get a taunt in, give me some HP back. I should honestly probably try Wingrave with a dagger, because I heal per hit, but also per finisher on a melee combo. I think it scales based on how slow the weapon is, but the dagger might legitimately be the best healing item I've got, just in terms of quick attacks and multiple combos. Or it's sword and shield, both attack pretty quick. There we go. Yeah, I think I'm gonna hold off on showing the open world until the early access version, just because it takes, well, it takes a little bit to get over there, but no, you know what? We can warp over to it. It won't take too long. Okay, so if I want to go to the map, so this is the main town. I guess, actually, yeah, let's show off a couple of things. Let's warp over here real quick, but then actually drop down into the Maker's Quarter. So there's kind of this big explorable town, places to hang out. I think they actually want to have like random mini games and events that you can do, like a tavern brawl, maybe a card game, and then places just hang out with people. But at the moment, none of that stuff is in, so I'm kind of curious to see what they'll do. But for now, I'm just going to assume it's not going to exist, because it currently doesn't. But this is the Maker Quarter, which is where you actually build all of your weapons. So, kind of like Warframe, you specifically have your kind of like overall weapon blueprint, but then 4 different parts that you put into it. Only 3 are craftable here, so I'm actually quite curious to see where the heck do you get, so this is the shell form spirit, but where do you get the essence from? I don't know, it's probably from a dungeon crawl, a boss, a quest, or something I don't know about yet. I've definitely seen people running around with tooth and claw, so it is clearly something you can do. I just don't know how. I don't know where to find half of this stuff either at the moment. But it's fine, I'll care more about that stuff when the game's actually out and done. When I know for a fact I'm going to be able to collect it all. So Longshot's more of like a sniper, Hellswarm's more of a shotgun. That's the railgun, good for breaking armor off and strikes through enemies, and so on and so forth. There's a lot of different weapons to collect here, and the weapons are practically characters in and of themselves. So once again, they have their own kind of upgrade system here with the affinity tree, so you can get these up to each level 10, and since every character can use every weapon without any kind of level requirements, you can have like a really high level weapon and a low level character to give you a bit of a boost, so you can tackle kind of mid-level content to make it a little easier on you. There's also relics that you can craft, which are a little bit more forgiving in terms of their recipe, but I'm not going to bother with that until I can figure out how to sell relics, because I actually have too many of them. There's also like consumable potions if you want like a defense boost or something like that. And it lasts for not that long, half a minute. So better for boss fights or challenging bits. It's the goods trader. I think this guy... Oh, wait. Hold up. So he sells relics. I can sell my extra accessories here. Yes! I have too many, and I would like to get rid of most of the junk that I don't need. And then this guy's also... this guy just sells a lot of the basic weapons for the different characters. I don't know what he's going to do later on. But currently it's not worth it because I think you get your weapon when you get the character, or I don't know. It'll depend once the game actually comes out properly. So, we were going to go check out the open world very briefly. So we go to the world map. So Skylights and Highlands. Pit. Okay, so we want to go all the way down over here. Repository of Knowledge. Yeah, I'm just going to toss myself into this direction so we can take a look at kind of what the open world looks like. So like I said, it's got 15 players that you can see running around in it. And one of the other main things that they want to do is kind of the Guild Wars 2 style of dynamic events. So when you're running around in an area, it'll have like a pop-up being like, hey, you know, there's this going on, or this world boss has spawned. And so you and a bunch of other people pile in to go fight it. I don't know if they have private instances for this kind of thing yet, because I'd very much like to see that with guilds. So if I could almost be on like a specific guild shard. So I'm normally alone, but say I'm playing with a bunch of guildmates at the same time, and we're all like, oh hey, so-and-so is spawned. You know, very much, get over here immediately. It's the cool thing's happening. And so everybody stops hanging out, finishes their dungeon run, and comes a-running to say hi. Craft imbuements. Ooh. So, imbuements are not something I've shown off particularly well at the moment. Ooh. Oh, I can make Great Gloomstones. I actually need like a lot of these. Unfortunately, this is going to take a little while, but Great Gloomstone is one of the primary means of character progression at the moment. I might want to hold on to some of this stuff. Ooh. So specifically, you also have to make gloom traces to fight different stuff. Lingering Light, yeah, we've been there. The Archon Commander, and then Brood Spawn. Oh, I'm getting wailed on. Ow. Goblins be hurting me. I'm in a, I'm not quite in the right spot. Well, no, I'm actually exactly in the right spot. This is the right difficulty level. Where are the rest of these guys? There you are. But yeah, so there's random enemies, random events, random treasure chests, and also you can find every single dungeon, and this is how you unlock them. I don't know, Undercroft I think is just the, yeah, second level expedition. But I can go here if I want to. So, specifically, this is how you access the Undercroft, which is, I believe, where we went to. the beginning with Windgrave. And you can also change the difficulties. You can add imbuements, though. So, imbued with greed energy. So, greed, piles of gold may be found within, but beware, the more gold you grab, the more damage you take from your foes. Shadow, enemies at half health, they enrage, hitting harder, and then they die, they explode. Flora, toxic mushrooms will, let's see, toxic pools damage you and heal your foes, but can be removed by breaking the fungus. Solar, heat wave, let's see. Heat wave comes and goes, so it'll strengthen foes along the way. And then there's chaos, so there's tricksters who will leave gifts behind. But you can combine them together, so the trickster will actually have golden bombs. All enemies are gloom touch and will call forth gloom reinforcements when killed. Stuff like this is really cool as a way of giving you extra places and control over how you're grinding. But then also as kind of a means of providing extra spice. So you're not just doing the same thing over and over again. I think these are the only imbuements that are in the game at the moment. But why don't we do Greed and Shadow? This is going to be a mistake. Oh, no. Chaos and Shadow? There we go. So this is going to be a mistake, but we're going to dive into Hunt the Archon Commander. I'm going to see if I can pull this one off. I've never succeeded at this one. Or, no, I did, but it's because he glitched out. Which I don't think really counts. But when we were fighting him in the super secret closed alpha period back in September, this was like the last boss available, and everybody was kind of encouraged to see him at least once and maybe take a crack at the fight. And ooh, he looks cool. I'm gonna be in trouble though. This is gonna be a hard fight. Maybe. Because I haven't done this solo either, is the one thing to kind of remember. There we go. Luckily I can block, and Windgrave is really good at that stuff. Alright, toss that off. No, I think I might actually have a chance here. My blocking is really silly. Okay. Just chuck axe off. I want to stun him, but I don't. Ooh, he actually got me on that one. Get the taunt in so I can get some extra HP. Unfortunately, yeah, camera angle is a bit of an issue sometimes with this. Oh, levers. Okay, and now the boss got more interesting. He's got some AoEs that he can chuck around. So we actually have to worry about, like, ground zones and whatnot. While we fight him. Alright, toss this off. No, I'm holding my own. I'm shocked. I was expecting I'd be having a worse time. It's definitely a fight that could go really badly for me if I start screwing up. But at least at the moment, I mean, we got him halfway down, unless he's got a bonus health bar that he's gonna pull out of nowhere. We do have to watch out for those AoEs, though. They hurt. Oh, why did he get big? Why are you big now? I have no idea why he got big now. Okay. Now it's time to actually care about AoEs and stuff. Ow, what? I'm not. Boy. Well, that hurt. That hurt a lot. I thought I was doing so well, but the answer was I got overconfident. So I'll probably come back to this one when I'm a little bit stronger, and maybe I have a teammate or two to kind of play around with me. So I'm sure there's all sorts of other stuff that I could say about this game, and I will get the chance to do so at a later date, in May, when this comes out in early access, which I am very much looking forward to, just because then I will know that all of my progress is saved. Things hopefully will be a little bit more stable, just in terms of the invisible battle axe, maybe some server netcode. Hopefully the lock-on camera gets a little bit better and doesn't get stuck. Sometimes it just has trouble clipping into stuff. or if enemies are moving too much, and it'll suddenly just, like, whip you around and you have no idea what you're looking at or where. But otherwise, like, I think the game's in a solid spot. It obviously needs a lot more content. It needs a lot more time in the oven, but that's kind of true of most MMOs. And so I think there is going to be kind of that give and take of, like, is this done yet? And I haven't actually seen a whole lot of MMOs jump into early access before. I mean, they do, but they don't label themselves as such, and so I kind of appreciate the level of honesty of, like, yeah, this game isn't done, and we want that extra feedback testing. And I hope that actually, like, resonates with people, instead of just everybody being like, oh, it's not done yet, this is a bad game. Which, like, can actually very much be true, and there is always that risk. With an early access game, you know, is it going to get finished? Is it going to be satisfactory when it's done? But it's got a good pedigree, and once a couple of the small issues are polished over, I think it'll be fine. I think it'll actually be a lot of fun. It might not quite have the staying power of some other MMOs, but on the flip side, I don't know if it needs to. I kind of like MMOs that respect my time and give me more of a space where I can hang out and play with friends, or, you know, see the new sites, play around a little bit, see a new character, get stuck in for like a month or two, and then kind of move on. Oh god, these are level 35. No thank you. What is over here then? Oh, is this the bad place? This is the bad place. Whee! Actually, maybe it's not the bad place. Where is this taking me? Because it said recommended level 361. No, this is just Gloom Dungeon level 1? Where is this? What am I doing? I've never seen this before. So either this is like a completely unique location, or, oh yeah, this is completely new for me. I've never seen this before. I guess there's kind of little random dungeons that can only be found in the open world. Ooh. And this is what this game needs, in my opinion. Just kind of stuff. Reasons to keep you playing, both in terms of, like, Skinnerbox content, so you actually have, like, a reason to keep exploring and playing and finding new things to grind up. But then also some level of story content, which hopefully is integrated quite well. That's a new enemy for me. I've never seen any of this before. What a way to end the video out. Fighting a ball. Ah! Oh, no, never mind. I am too powerful for the ball. Rad. But yeah, just a lot more characters, a lot more customization. I still think the accessory system and the echoes could use a little bit of work just in terms of being more interesting than just stat sticks. I think it's fine for what it is for the moment, but I would definitely love to see, like, a greater level of character customization within, like, unique abilities and stuff. And maybe that's just a matter of I need to collect more items to get to that point. And also weapons. Like, I already feel like I've got a great build going on. My one fear is that I feel like I might be a little bit too stuck to it. Yeah, let's go for a taunt. Just so I can eat hits for a while. But honestly, my biggest concern at the moment is just making sure performance is as good as possibly can be. Nothing would frustrate me more as part of this game is if the performance is kind of iffy. You know, if you're getting hit when you don't think you're supposed to be getting hit. You know, dealing with netcode, especially when playing multiplayer. With an action MMO, like, part of the reason why most MMOs aren't action-y is because ultimately either computers can't handle it, or also just because, yeah, it's just here, cool. Either computers can't handle it or people's internet. And I very much do worry a little bit. I think we're in a better state than we were than like 10 years ago in terms of like internet access and performance and stuff. So maybe it will be fine. Do we want to go this direction? Is there more over here? I'm going to just double check. It's just a little bit of gloomstone shards. Which, now that we know we can craft those into actual great gloomstones, it's worth it. Because I can actually go in here and keep leveling up my affinity levels very slowly. I want those perks, though, because they're going to be very strong. But if the performance and the overall, like, pure gameplay feel of this improves, like, I want this to feel like it's a offline game with offline levels of like latency and response times. And if we can get that, I'm going to be a very happy camper, purely on merit of like, I want an action MMO. I want an action MMO that I can play with friends, where we can actually just go into a older boss fight if we want to, because it's fun. And because grinding, yes, but, you know, not just because of that. Can I? Yeah, I can't get up here. Sparkly. I should have added some infusions onto this dungeon just to give it a little bit more spice. But I thought this was going to be the bad place. There's a, like a frostbound dungeon that I cannot go to yet. I am not strong enough for that. I can get through a lot of things with gusto and skill, but that is not... Oh, do I have to stand on this thing to make it go away? Oh, there we go. Confusing. There's a secret thing over here. There's a couple of little bits. I see you. I don't actually know what memory fragments are used for. That's fine. I'll care more about resources when I actually know that I'm going to be keeping them. Betas have always been kind of iffy for me, if only because there's no sense of, like, I get to keep this stuff. So I remember when I was a kid, I played Lord of the Rings Online, like, super avidly, and I really enjoyed it in the beta, like, before it actually came out. So when it actually came out, I was just like, oh, my character's gone. That sucks. And I've just never played it again. I probably should. I'm sure the game is good. Probably hasn't aged that well, but I know it still has, like, a pretty dedicated fan base. There we go. What is going on around here? A lot of explosions, that's what. Luckily, I'm absurdly overleveled for where I'm at, so this is kind of easy. But that makes it fun in its own way, too. And for a stress test, like, especially when I'm playing solo, I do not notice a single ounce of latency. So I'm curious if the game is, like, super forgiving when it comes to, like, the netcode on, like, your own instance. Or if it's one of those that, like, when you were playing alone, you were functionally being given, like, the super dedicated treatment as far as, like, communicating with the server goes. That's gotta be what it is, I'm sure, but I have trust issues when it comes to games and netcodes. Or games, online games and netcode, just because usually when the multiplayer of any game launches, it's usually just, like, an absolute mess. And everybody's mad for like a week and then the game never recovers. And so very much that is admittedly kind of my consistent fear with this one, is that it is going to come out in early access, but the performance is going to be kind of dodgy because the servers are getting hugged to death. And then poor Airship Syndicate is just screwed. That would be really sad. Purely just because, like, I like this game a lot, and it's one of those that I hope it lasts for quite a while, just so I can, I mean, see where Airship Syndicate takes it, just because, like, this very much is, I don't want to say the limits of their capabilities, but, because that's like the negative way of phrasing it, but this very much feels like it is the best possible expression of their skill. Because I never found the storytelling in Airship games to be their core focus in the same way. I apologize if a narrative designer is listening to this one, because I'm not trying to say this dismissively. It's just the world design, the characters, the combat, the gameplay and exploration. Like, that's the best parts of every airship and or Vigil game I've ever played. And very much like having a game where I meant to be playing it for years and years and years feels like it's the best possible place to get that. I think the only thing I'm going to miss is the parkour from Darksiders 2. I really liked the parkour. But I also recognize that that'd be hard to put into an MMO, and honestly, I feel like I'm exploring here, which is weird. I don't know where I'm going or what I'm doing, and I should probably maybe go back to some stuff. But I don't think it matters either. I think I'm just on a journey. I think we're right at the end. This looks very much... looks very much like the ending here. Big, creepy portal looking thing. Either that or this is the end. I don't know. Let's find out. Yeah, it's the end. You can always tell because it's got that creepy void heart? Gloom heart thing going on. I don't know if we're gonna have any new bosses or anything to fight here, but still. Okay. Gosh. I should have probably had some notes for other talking points, but frankly, I'll probably do another one of these once I've played like 30, 40 hours of early access, where I can truly talk about how I feel about the game, as opposed to more of kind of like a lightly guided preview. Because I'd very much like to get into the greater details of this game and how I feel about it, but I also feel like it would be remiss of me to try and even attempt to do... It would be remiss of me to attempt to do so when I'm only playing like a closed beta. Poor guy is just fighting his heart out, not realizing he is wildly overclassed by a man with an invisible axe. I am so sorry, Airship, that I'm just showcasing the most non-visible weapon in your arsenal at the moment. That was cool, though. I was not expecting there would be random dungeons that would just pop up, and I got a lot of good stuff out of that, too. Now, did I get a bonus treasure? I did! Nice. A lot of gray gloomstone, but that's exactly what I need. Because that's how you pretty much upgrade everything. Oh, I'm not allowed to leave. Oh, I think I've broken the game. It's fine, it's a stress test. And hopefully these problems will not persist into the full version of the game. And even if they do, it's fine. It will probably only take a couple of weeks for them to get the nastiest of bugs. I don't think they expected people to come here, so I don't think I'm supposed to leave. Or maybe I'm supposed to go back the other direction? No. For a second I thought the map had, like, changed, and it's like, actually, you're trapped here because there's another boss roaming around. Go find it. Actually, Airship, if you guys are listening to this, that would be really cool. Like, a really rare moment where you get stuck in the dungeon. You still get the full reward, but it's like, you know, oh no, all of a sudden, it's go time. Something bigger and scarier is chasing you now. Either fight it or run. And you get different rewards for either. And the run is like, blitz back through the level that you've already been in. Maybe with some new enemy spawns, maybe some new, like, disaster things. Maybe the whole thing is just falling apart on you. And so you have to be, like, careful not to fall into the abyss and lose some time. And, like, you get extra rewards based on how well you do. So if you manage to take out the boss, you just get the full thing. Or if you only manage to make it a little bit, you know, further away from it, you get X amount. I don't know. I think that would be really cool, and it'd be a good way of kind of spicing up the occasional dungeon run where you actually are like, oh, this is spooky now, and I actually have to care about what's going on. Speaking about caring what's going on, there's like a lot of these little side paths I did not take. This area feels like an area. It's mostly just got loot in it, but it's still cool. Anyway, so with all that said, it's getting pretty late for me, and my lips are chapped beyond belief. I think that this is a good stopping point for me, at least for now. I don't know if we're going to get another preview period. If we somehow magically do before early access, which I'd be very happy about. It looks like there's supposed to be something there. I don't think I can go in that general direction, so it's just a good set piece for now. But if we do get another one, I might drag Shell along and we'll have another conversation about how we feel about the game. And also, maybe I can actually tackle that harder boss fight that I got my butt kicked on. Because that'd be fun, too. But for now, at least, if you guys like this video in any way, shape, or form, leave me a like, helps more than you know. And if you want to see more rad new indie games every single day, yeah, this counts as an indie game. I'm calling it. It's kind of an indie game. Then hit subscribe, because I got tons to check out. And if you want to see more Wayfinder, yeah, I'll be playing more of this, too. I don't play a whole lot of MMOs nowadays, but I'm trying to bring some of them back. So I've actually been playing a lot of Warframe on my own to catch up for their upcoming major patch as well. Which, I'm completely forgetting the name of it, but it looks like it's going to be a banger. So, I guess one last, thank you to Airship Syndicate and Digital Extremes for giving me this opportunity, and a quick reminder that once again, this is going to be out in early access on Steam and PlayStation. I don't know if it's PS4. I know it's on PS5. But it's going to be on Steam and PlayStation in May. And fair warning, the launch is probably going to be a little buggy. I've never seen a game launch onto Steam and have a good first day or first week. So go into that with at least some reasonable expectations that it might not be fully functional. But having seen this game when it's not being taxed to oblivion, I can safely say that it's pretty solid. Oh, that looked like a weird dragon thing. I didn't even know what's going on with that. But when the game isn't being taxed to oblivion, it performs really well. And I want to see more of that. It's fine. I'm trying to break things, but not too hard. Just in case I find something. I got trapped in some trapdoors in the super closed alpha, and that was really fun. Ooh, how far can I go out here? It's definitely... the hit meshes are kind of wrong, but it's fine. Nope, ain't gonna make it. It's fine. Alright, anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time.